Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grease podcast with your hosts, Prudo and D.
Welcome back to the podcast, y'all. Another glorious Monday. Got some good people in the audience right now watching. Appreciate y'all here. D, good to have you back, buddy.
Glad to be back, man. And as we say every time we are starting this one off, happy fucking Monday.
Yeah, Mondays suck. We're hoping that all you in the audience had a decent, I'm just going to set the bar, decent Monday. My Monday is capping off right. Another White Claw Monday, as it should be.
I mean, we're not sponsored by them, so I'm not gonna say the name,
Yeah.
but not yet. One of these days, but I might jump on the drink train, and we might have something a little mixed up moving forward. I needed to finish. In an unfortunate way, I needed to finish my GBA league before I started drinking and podcasting and drinking and playing. We got eliminated, so maybe I'll share a drink with you moving forward.
Hell yeah, man. And just to clarify, man, I don't have a problem. I only drink on Mondays for some reason, strangely enough for the podcast. I was telling Dee before the show, I'm trying to get rid of all the White Claws in my fridge from my daughter's birthday in August. There's still so many in there.
I think I was also saying off air, we have a ton of Mick Ultras because, we're worried about the cows still from, I think it was Christmas Eve. Those are still in the refrigerator. They're probably terrible, but they do need to be finished off. We might have to start going that way moving forward.
I feel like Mick Ultra's having a moment. This is a random tangent, but I see so many commercials for them for like the Super Bowl and like during NBA. Mick Ultra is like the hot new thing, huh?
I don't know if it's new. Big shouts to JA from up north. The reason why I say that is because him and the crew, they started the wave. I want to say like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, because it's the no cal drink, right? It's got no calories, or limited calories. Don't quote me if it's zero. But it's limited calories. So like people feel like I can get drunk and I don't have to worry about gaining weight. My fat ass don't care anymore, bro. I'm not an athlete anymore, unfortunately. The 35th birthday passed a while ago, so like, does it really matter? So we might have to just finish him off just because.
Nice. Well, hey, listen, guys, we appreciate you guys being here live. We see you out there. Love for all of you. If you're if you're listening on podcasts, love for you as well. But listen, hey, don't forget, this is a podcast as well. So hit us up, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Frizz and the Grizz. Subscribe to that shit. Give it a like. We love y'all. Thank you. Good show today. We just wrapped up NFC, AFC championship games. So we're going to talk some football. Look ahead at the Super Bowl. Good Frizz's 5 today. It's I would say it's inspirational, like things that you inspire to do, right?
Yep.
So positivity today on Frizz's 5. And we did want to touch on some NBA stuff as well, because we've neglected to do some NBA. And hey, listen, special for next week, we're gonna kind of deviate away from the norm, I think. Should we say what we're doing now?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so like usually we do like topical sports, but it's kind of a lull next week. NBA is kind of
Super Bowl
going slow into All-Star weekend and the week for the Super Bowl. So we're gonna do a little throwback wrestling next week, 90s Attitude Era stuff. So it should be fun. Yeah. So D, anything else before we get into the show?
Let's get it started, baby.
All right, this is gonna be a weird place to get started off all the good football, half of the good football from yesterday. I just gotta get this off my chest. I am so tired of fans bitching when their team does poorly. It's always the refs. It's always something else. No one wants to take accountability for their team not playing well, and I'm just so tired of it.
Bro, welcome to the wagon. I appreciate it. So being a Saints fan, I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, but I've kind of gotten this like hardened skin, right? Thick shell on the outside with blaming people. So I don't want to hear shit about people complaining about the refs. I don't want to hear people complaining about like late game scenarios that got missed. Like just remember 3 years in a row, I had to deal with the Diggs touchdown, right? The non-pass interference call from the Rams, right? And then the non-pass interference call from the 49ers. So I don't want to hear shit about like, oh, we missed calls or like they got to not throw that flag or like it all came down to that. Nah, shut up and just like Trudeau was saying, take some accountability and some responsibility and stop making it be close games.
Yeah, I think what got me set off was I like Reddit. I'm on Reddit a lot, and just I saw the Bengals Reddit all today, bro. Just photos of the head crew chief from that game last night, being like, "Oh, this is why we lost game." Although there was a really funny meme, like players do jersey exchanges after the game. There was a meme of the ref and Patrick Mahomes standing next to jersey exchange.
Bro, the internet is undefeated with that type of stuff.
I love the internet. It's a terrible but also hilarious place. But I mean, yeah, the big talking point on everyone's radar today is the roughing or late hit call on Mahomes to put them in field goal range to win the game. Bro, it was a late hit. I don't know what else to say. It
Yes.
was a foul.
It was 3 steps out of bounds. Not only was it 3 steps out of bounds, did he get the first down? I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't remember.
he was already like 16, 20 yards downfield at that
So
point.
they still weren't in field goal range yet, right?
Yes,
And
and he
that
won the
so
play.
the selfishness of doing something like that, it's the end of the game. Look, there's 2 ways for it, right? I understand he was running full speed, but I
Yeah.
also understand you got to realize Patrick Mahomes is on one leg. All it takes is for you to breathe on him wrong, and they're going to throw the flags, right? They're going to treat him a la Brady-esque to 2000 to 2023, right? Because he is the golden boy. You cannot put yourself in that situation to touch him, even if he's right at the sideline, let alone 3 steps out of bounds. So, like, selfish on that end. I understand it's a big boy that you got to like slow down and whatnot, but you got to read the room. You got to understand where you're at scenario wise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say selfish because I don't think he meant to do that. I think he's a big boy. He was trying to get him out of bounds, and Patrick Mahomes, he is a scrambling threat still, so he's probably like, I got to make sure he gets out of bounds. I don't want to give any more yards away. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think the biggest grievance the Bengals fans had was they showed a similar play. I think it was like in the third quarter where the running back was going out of bounds and 2 Chiefs defenders like walloped him when he was almost in the green at that point, like that far out of bounds. There was no penalty. But I mean, listen, running backs, quarterbacks, there's different gloves used. The quarterbacks gets kids gloves, especially for name's Patrick Mahomes, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what people have to recognize, that like you just can't put yourself in that situation. And my biggest gripe, and I know we talked about it off air, was it should have never come down to that scramble, but in a game, in a league that is getting rid of returns in general, right? They have mitigated the kick return. They have absolutely eliminated the punt return. I think the average for like teams is like 5 yards per attempt. You gave up 25
And more, baby.
in it. Plus, yeah, like in the biggest game of the season, you gave up 25 yards on a punt return with 30 seconds left. That in itself is blamable, right? Like, I understand, like, people are like, well, there was a block in the back because they want to see it. You know how many times blocking the back happens on returns? Every fucking time, right? If you want a flag every single time, then you're gonna cry about there being flags every time there's a punt and kick return. So, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And like that to me was the bigger play, is like you gave Pat Mahomes the ability to attempt a game-winning drive when if they punted it and downed it inside of their 30, inside of their 25, like where it was, they're taking a knee and they're going to overtime. They had no timeouts.
I was a little nervous for that punt return too, because I think they almost put the broadcaster jinx on that return. I remember Sky Moore gets back there and Tony Romo was saying that, he was removed from the punt return team after the first couple of games. He muffed a few punts, and I'm like, oh no, like, is this how it go down for the Bengals?
Not like this.
But no, he was phenomenal. He got him to like the 50-yard line. Patrick Mahomes had like a 15-yard run plus the penalty, put him in field goal range. You want to break down this game itself, because all I got to say is, like, all the people all week. I mean, it's not people. Here's the thing, right? And we've talked off air about this before. People like Colin Cowherd and who's the other clown, Skip Bayless, and to an extent, Stephen A. They'll say things just to say things, right? To be controversial. And I think the big talking point last week was, is Joe Burrow the guy, like the best quarterback in the NFL? Get out of here with that. This was the like Superman performance for Patrick Mahomes, because I did not expect him to do that. We talked last week, you and me, like the mobility is going to be an issue. Dude, he sucked it up. They shot him up with whatever they did, and he played through it, and you could tell he was in pain, and he was super impressive.
So I know he won't ever technically be, but Andy Reid is slowly getting up there as one of the best coaches in the history of football. The reason why I bring this up is because Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy drew together a great
No, I think he's already there. Like you're saying.
Okay. Well, the reason why I'm saying that is because Belichick is clearly number one. What I'm saying is he's getting closer to that like 3-2-esque area because of what he's doing. And what they did game planning wise with Reid, Mahomes, and Bieniemy is they knew that, the Bengals knew he had one leg. It was 2-step drop throw. get that ball out of your hands as quick as possible. And then if he had to become an athlete, it caught the Bengals off guard because they're like, oh crap, he's scrambling. Right. So like he was getting the ball, away quickly. Mahomes was making some throws that were absolutely ridiculous. And as much as I wear the LSU band, on my sleeve, I say Burrow is a top 5, top 3 quarterback, but I wouldn't put him above Mahomes. This dude is ridiculous. And that throw that he made to MVS in the end zone on a fucking laser was like, oh my, like, how do you do that? It was like scramble right, throw kind of left, hop, skip, and a jump. And it was just a seed 30 yards down the field, like right in his chest. That is like Brady, Rodgers, and Manning-esque all together combined throughout a baby. And that's what you got on that play, which was ridiculous.
No, this might sound blasphemous, but I think Mahomes could be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. He's not obviously the most accomplished. That's Tom Brady, but like as far as a complete skill set, Mahomes might be that guy. Like we might be seeing the greatest physical quarterback of all time. But you said you think Joe Burrow is still like top 5. I think Joe Burrow is clearly the second best behind Mahomes at this point. Like you said, throwing a dart, like the throw that Mahomes had to T. Higgins I think they tied it up at 13-13 was
Burrow.
I'm sorry, my apologies. The throw that Burrow had to T. Higgins was one of the best throws I've seen all season. Double coverage, just right, and the throw to Chase, dude. The throw to Chase when it was 4th and 6. Like, first of all, the balls to call that play. Right, you're 4th and 6. You're like, or maybe like a short slam, maybe like an out, something to get the 6 yards. Now we're going to run it in and out, and then we're going to throw it into double coverage right in the window. It was amazing.
Not only double coverage, but in a spot that only his receiver could go get it because the defenders were looking back. They were looking forward, covering him, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my God, he's jumping!" It is too late by then, right? So yeah, the only reason why I don't put Burrow, I don't even know. I mean, who would you just might be? I'm thinking, and like the way that you put it, like he's better than Josh Allen,
yes,
and that would be number 2 if there was a 2.
Then who?
I guess it's Burrow. Yeah, I guess it is Burrow, and I'm again like I defend Burrow like he's like my quarterback for the Saints, right? Because he went to LSU. That's my guy. He's always going to be QB1. But I think you might be right. He might have ascended into that like second best quarterback in the NFL. The tough part is the turnovers, and I understand that he had a little bit of tougher game and without his offensive line blocking the way he should have. We can go that route. I know that you wanted. I know that you will. So I'll segue into it. He didn't look as comfortable back there as he did the week prior, and even with the snow, I still think like he was still able to get the ball off better last week, quick throws, and he kind of held on to it a little bit longer. There was a drive that he got sacked 3 straight plays. I mean, you got to be on Zach. That's got to be on Zach Taylor. Hey, drop something to get the ball out of his hands quick. But like they didn't, and lo and behold, they end up losing.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference in this game, obviously, I think Mahomes is far, the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, but the biggest difference between the 2 quarterbacks and their performance is the offensive line. It's crazy because like when Mahomes dropped back, it felt like he had a clean pocket most of the game. And on the flip side, Joe Burrow, man, I felt bad for him because obviously we knew that they had those offensive line injuries last week. And I told you, man, that snow did play impacted the pass rush of the Bills. And without that element, they were just overwhelmed. Chris Jones, man, that dude's an absolute monster. He gave their offensive line hell all night. And you said, well, all right, I got some numbers. They give 5 sacks on the day, which it's not great. It's 5 for 32. It's not great. It's not the worst, but like even without the sacks, man, there were so many times where the pocket collapsed. He had to run and just throw something out of bounds. He was running for his life all night. And really, like, I think the story of the weekend is just offensive line. You look at Philly, look at the matchup here, like offensive line. You can be a great quarterback, but if you don't have help, man, it hurts.
So we tend to say, KC is sexy with their offense, right? It's the Mahomes show. It's him getting the ball off with these incredible throws, or not Sky Moore, the running back that just Pacheco, like or Kelsey, like offensive threats. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and Carlos Dunlap created incredible pressure with 3 men where they weren't blitzing. So like I wouldn't even say that it's so much like a negative for the offensive line as it was for the Chiefs defense
Yeah.
playing their ass off. Like they typically, you don't give credit to the Chiefs defense, right?
Yeah.
Like you never do. And Chris Jones, I don't know who the defensive coordinator is for the Chiefs. So I hate to not be able to give him
I don't
credit.
know.
But what they did was they put Jones in the spots that he needed to be in to be single covered. And that's a defensive tackle, right? That's like Aaron Donald being single covered. Like he's a big man, and they found a way to do that by scheming it upright, and the Bengals just didn't unfortunately adjust.
I don't know this. I think he had something like 14, 15 sacks on the year, Chris Jones. And so after this game, in preparation for the show, I knew that the Bengals offensive line struggled. And I'm like, all right, I don't know much about the Chiefs defense, as you said as well. You're kind of unaware. We don't talk about the Chiefs defense. But statistically, their pass rush all year, and I don't know if this is because the opposing team has to throw because they're down, but their pass rush has been really good all year. They were, let's see, 6th in the league for pressure rate and number 2 for total sacks behind the Eagles this year. So like, this is not a fluke. This team is good at rushing the passer, and they were going against a subpar offensive line in the Bengals.
There's typically a correlation between best offense in the NFL and best, I would say, sack percentage.
Numbers, statistically wise.
Yeah, because the teams are playing from behind, right? So like they have to throw because the offense is putting up numbers. So those teams typically get pass rushers, a la Fletcher, a la Hassan Reddick for Philly. Like the defensive front four for the Eagles are really good because they are the highest scoring team in the NFL, right? So like they've been playing from behind, and not only are they, I don't want to always talk about, I don't want to talk too much about the Eagles, but it's the same thing with the defense and the offensive perspective putting up points is that they get players that put their hand in the dirt, just go get the quarterback because they're, the opposing team is down 14, is down 17.
Right.
And they're just controlling the ball at that end where it's like, we have to get the ball back, right? So like they got to throw the ball. And that's essentially like how the Chiefs played the Bengals without having the lead, right? It was a 7-point game the whole game.
You know what that reminds me of is, to a T, the old Peyton Manning Colts where I forget who the edge rusher was. Dwight Freeney would have a field day because Peyton would get up 14-0 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the opposing team has to pass. And Dwight Freeney would just tee off on the opposing tackle.
I think it was Freeney and Mathis. I can't remember the first name.
Good call, man. Yes, those two guys. But that reminds me of how the Colts played back in the day. Just get the lead and hold it. If there is one concern I have going forward, I mean, well, 2 concerns. Number 1, their offensive weapons outside of Kelsey looking real thin right now. I think they were down to 3 receivers in that game total.
Yep.
By the end of it. But, they have a week to recover, so maybe they'll get some of those guys back. I was going to point out their rushing attack was pitiful. I'm looking at the numbers now. 20 rushes for 42 yards, averaging 2.1 yards a carry. They're still winning, but, like, I'm still concerned that they can't run the football.
I think they're going to be in trouble because the front 7 for Philly is really good, but it's weird because it's just the way that it pans out from Mahomes. The way that he's playing and the way that he played made it easier for them to give up only get 2 yards per rush, right? It was your 1st and 10s making it 2nd and 7, and then he can throw the short pass to pick up a first down or make it easier for 3rd down being 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Now you have to worry about if it's a run or a pass. So they did just enough, relying on Pacheco, and I want to say McKinnon even got a couple of runs in there. He had 4. He didn't get as much yards, but it's the fact that he still ran. Robert Mathis, there we go. Like I said, I was deep in my bag in that one. I knew the last name. I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember the first name. Appreciate you. But yeah, like I said, they're running the ball enough that you have to respect the run game. Last week was a much better outcome, but Pacheco also had like a 40-yard rip on one of them. So like that, you have to take into account for that. If you can get 3 yards per carry, I think you put yourself in a really good spot against the Eagles.
Yeah. Just one last thing on the Bengals, just offensive line wise. So I did mention they gave up 5 sacks for 32 yards. They also had 3 holds for negative 30 yards. So like just overall, they were just outmatched. I do have I had a thought watching the Chiefs, and this is like the last thing I have in this game. Mm-hmm. This is going to sound a little weird, but watching Patrick Mahomes play in that game, it reminded me so much of like 2017 Tom Brady with the Patriots. And hear me out why I said that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna love this because you were on this from the beginning of the season. I remember those shitty Patriots teams, and I say shitty just because their skill positions were so bad. He was throwing to every white guy in the NFL. It was like Chris Hogan, Edelman, Amendola. Literally every white guy at wide receiver was on that team. But he just found a way to just like be surgical. And like Mahomes looked that way. Like the guys on the field playing with him, nobody. I mean, not nobody's because that's kind of mean, but you know what I mean. As far as like a number one receiver, number two receiver, and Mahomes was just surgical the entire game. And when you needed him to make a big drive at the end, you knew it was going to happen. It's just he has that Tom Brady-esque quality now where I will just cut you to pieces and win this game. It's crazy.
I wish I had a Nostradamus hat for everybody that called me out and said, how is Mahomes going to be better at quarterback without Tyreek Hill? Hold on, let me finish this one because I said it at the beginning of the season. Without him having his binky, right, his blanket, his throat, fuck it, Hill's down there somewhere. He learned, he not saying he didn't have it, right? But he's learned how to just take what the defense is giving you instead of having to rely on a 5-step drop, wait, throw to Hill. He's doing those 2-3 steps, get the ball out. Is this one to Juju? Sure. Is this one to Tony? Sure. Is this MVS? Sure. Is this one Kelsey? Let my receivers do the work after because like he's taking what the defense is giving him. I said he was going to be a better quarterback. The proof is in the pudding just from this season that he was a better QB, the position of quarterback. Maybe the team isn't as good, isn't explosive, but he played the position of quarterback better this year than he has his entire career because he doesn't have a number one right now.
Yeah, I think it's fair. My only objection is that, thinking on the flip side, we talked about Joe Burrow making that pass on 4th and 6 to Jamar Chase. And when you absolutely need to have a play, it's so nice to have your Tyreek Hill to be like, we need this play. Let's just do it. Just give me one first down and the guy will get it for you. He doesn't have the guy except for Kelsey. Kelsey is that guy right now, but outside of him, no one's going to will themselves to get you a first down. It's going to be either Mahomes on his back or Kelsey can do something for you. So I wish he had one more weapon going to the Super Bowl, but they've done it so far. So who knows? Do you want to jump over to the NFC Championship game?
Yeah, just real quick, and then we can move on. By no means am I advocating that he doesn't need a number one.
No, I know.
It's just one of those, like, he became a better quarterback without that guy, right? And, like, he was able to elevate his game. If he had Tyreek, could they be in this position still? Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying that he wouldn't, but he is doing what you just said, where it's surgical down the field now. And it's not just the big play. It's 2nd and 6, first down. 2nd and 5, out to the numbers, first down, as opposed to slant across the middle taken for 80 yards or streak up the seam taken for 70 yards. He's getting 300 plus yards passing without an explosive play, which is incredible.
On the subject of the Eagles 49ers, I know we talked right off the jump, kind of the idea of like, we're tired of excuses. And again, another game this weekend that is filled with excuses because Brock Purdy going out, like, I don't know if it was like early first quarter within the first drive or so, complete built-in excuse for the 49ers. I personally think Brock Purdy stays healthy. Eagles still win this game. But once he went out, there was absolutely no chance the 49ers were going to win. Love you, Josh Johnson. He's been around for 13 years in the league, but he wasn't going to do it for you that day. I'm just kind of sad in general the game turned out the way it did because that game, we had so many questions going in, right? Number one, are the Eagles for real? Because they just beat up on a team in the Giants we thought were fraudulent, and they didn't prove anything again. And then another thing was I'm still a hater of Brock Purdy. I'm not a hater. I just don't think he's like people want to make him a top 10 quarterback right now. Like, it's crazy. I thought this might have been the end of the road for Brock Purdy as far as playing an elite defense. And we don't know now at this point because he played one drive and threw 2 passes before he got injured. So I'm just kind of bummed out how it turned out. Like, what are your emotions about this game?
A couple. First, before I don't want to get too bent up in emotional behind it. But there's like the troll in me that wants to say, for everybody that says that Jalen Hurts can't throw, he's not a quarterback, and all he does is run. When that happened to the 49ers and all they had was people that could run, what happened? Right. So like stop shitting on them, right? And all I'm saying is they put up 30 points on the league's supposed best defense by running the ball. They ran the ball. Look, what I mean by this is, like, you can call it a joke, you can call it a troll, whatever. There's a lot of people that like to shit on Jalen Hurts and say he can't throw. And then if another team gets put in that position, well, we don't have a quarterback. Well, then I thought you said Jalen Hurts wasn't a quarterback. So again, that's just me getting my troll on in the emotional side of things. But when it comes to the actual game, I hate that there was an injury that kind of determined for people
Early
to,
too.
it was the first drive of the game for them, determined for people to complain about something like this. I still think that we both took the Eagles. Like I still thought that they were going to not blow them out, but it just wasn't going to be a close game because I think the Eagles defense was great and it showed. It just sucks that there's a built-in excuse saying we could have been here if we had a quarterback and like we should have had Steve Young come start. It's like, shut up. Like, because I feel like people are doing everything in their power. And I texted one of my group chats to say that Jalen Hurts isn't as good as he is. And like when they're successful, he's 14-1 as a starting quarterback this season. The 2 games that they lost were because they had other quarterbacks starting. He's taken out the best defense in the NFL in the conference championship, and they just continue winning. But when they win, it's the team, and he's not really contributing to it. He's literally an MVP candidate, and people still can't give him his credit because there's always something that's happening. And right now it's because Brock Purdy got hurt, and that's the only reason why that they won.
When you just like what I don't know what these quote unquote people are saying. Like, so what are you disagreeing with? Because I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a very good quarterback. I'll upgrade to very good. Like, I don't have him as like a top 4 guy probably, but at the same token, like, he's done everything they've asked him to do. And I think you mentioned like he was 14-1.
14-1.
He's got like, if we want to put 49ers at the top of the mountain, they're the number 2 defense, the Eagles. Their skill positions are awesome. Their offensive line's the best in the game. So it is easy to be successful. But the one thing I laughed at, and I was trying to disagree with you, is like they put up 31 points or 30 points against the number 1 defense in the league. I looked at their stats, like their offensive production, and it's laughable.
140 on the ground, cut it out.
Hurts is 15 for 25 for 121 yards. And you said what do they have on the ground? Go ahead.
148.
You know how many carries they need for that?
40.
Yeah, they average 3.5 yards a carry. That's not very impressive.
You still got to stop them. 3 to 4 yards per carry is a first down every single time they're getting ready to run the ball.
If you do that against Patrick Mahomes, you'll lose him by 40.
The thing is, they can do it against Mahomes because they will control the ball. They'll control the ground game. They'll control the clock. If they are running the ball at 4 yards a pop, that's going to put the Chiefs in
3.5.
Whatever. Still first down if you average that off of 3 runs. They're going to put the Chiefs behind the 8 ball because all they have to do is score once and then stop the Chiefs. And that's exactly the formula that the Eagles are running right now, where they're going to run the ball. They're going to go up. You're going to get behind. They're going to stop you. They're going to keep running the ball, control the clock. You're going to be down 2 scores, and then now they can start rushing you. So, like, that's their formula. It's worked. They're in the Super Bowl because of it.
I mean, I want the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm not trying to be a hater here. I'm just saying, like, what you're holding up as evidence of them having a good offense, it's kind of fraudulent. The 3 fumbles definitely put them in winnable positions to score those touchdowns. The one thing that I find to be the most annoying is that they had a balanced offense on the first drive, and once Brock Purdy went out, they kind of like said, hey, we only need to score like, I don't know, 14, 17 points and we win this game. And they just went some run, super run heavy. So I don't know. We haven't seen this postseason Jalen Hurts be pushed. And just to kind of like jump on the idea of this Eagles team not being pushed to the brink, I did some research as far as their regular season is concerned. So they had 14 wins this regular season. They went 14-3, I believe.
Yep.
So 6 of those 14 wins were 1 possession games, and most of them were 7 points, like just at the fringe of 1 possession. And and then they had 8 games that they won by over 7 points. So my only concern is that I believe with supreme confidence in the Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes can lead a team on that game-winning, I need you to carry the team drive. We just haven't seen the Eagles have to do it, and that's not like doubting Hurts saying he's not good. It's just they haven't proved it out yet because they haven't had to.
So I think there's a huge difference between one-score games with the Vikings and one-score games with the Eagles. We knew Kirk Cousins was going to fold. We knew Kirk Cousins was going to come back down to earth and in the big moment just not perform. Jalen Hurts has, and he's had a MVP. We weren't talking about
you just dragging them in the mud right now.
I'm saying, because the same thing when you say one-score games, it just made me think about the Vikings, and their record, their fraudulent record with one-score games. So when you compare it to the Eagles, like they won at one point like 8 straight or 10 straight games, lost, and then won another 4 or 5. Like I don't think I'm worried about their close games when they have an MVP candidate, B, one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL, and C, one of the best defenses. That formula in itself is a Super Bowl formula, right? Literally to a T. Great run game, MVP quarterback, great defense. So if they keep doing what they're doing, even with Mahomes and his magic, I still don't know who I'm picking on this one yet. I got to see how he feels.
We need it for next segment.
I know. We still got 2 weeks. We talk about next week real quick. No,
I just wrote my prediction down right now.
I'll let you segue into this one because I still don't know who I'm going with.
I mean, there's not much to talk about this game. It was a bummer, but hey, man. Oh, last thing, I did write something down. I have a friend who sits 50-yard line, first row. Eagles was there. That shit definitely hit that wire, that punt.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, it was one of those plays where like you go, you get up, you go to the bathroom or something like that because it's a punt, and then like I come back and I hear it's under review, and then I hear like with no conclusive evidence, we can't tell if it hit the wire. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? So yeah, I didn't know that punt was apparently hitting a wire or something.
By the way, starting quarterback for the 49ers next year is.
If you had to poll right now, Trey Lance.
My man. Yeah. Maybe Tom Brady. I don't know if you heard those rumors.
But I did. I heard people joking around saying that Garoppolo is going to be Brady's backup again. He's going to get traded to the 49ers.
All right, this is going to be a really quick segment. We're going to be kind of in and out. Just talk real quick Super Bowl. It's still 2 weeks away, so there's not a lot to talk about. We'll just right off the top. Actually, before we get into the actual prediction, how do you feel about the halftime show? You a Rihanna fan?
I'm not gonna say that I'm a fan, but I don't mind the selection. I think last year was
that's not fair.
Last year was the 90s throwback, right? 90s 2000s. It was Dre, Snoop, and all them. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was last year.
Dope. 50 Cent too. Came back all fat and I loved it though. I was just like, let's go. If he can do it, I can do it. If that's 50, if he's 40 something years old and I'm only a couple years away and he can look like that, hey, I'm good.
Wait, I'm missing the point there. So you're saying I can get fat is what you're saying?
Well, he was like fat and buff at the same time. Like it looked like he was cut. It's just, yeah, man.
I don't know.
He looked like he was 40 years old, right? He looked like it. Or 40 plus, whatever the hell he is. And it just gave me hope. I was like, look, man, if I could look like that, he's still kind of cut up, right? Like a big upper body, probably a little lower body, although I got legs of a fucking lineman still. Like, I'll be fine. That's never going to go away. But Rihanna, I think it's going to be a good show. I hope it's a good show. It's just halftime to me really isn't a big deal. Not really. I don't really care for certain performances because I know that they've gone a lot more political with shit. And I try to stay away from that type of stuff. But good cast. There might be a surprise, which would be great. But I think last year's Super Bowl was dope. Last year's Super Bowl halftime show was dope. So I don't know how much she could be better than, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Rihanna fan. I got nothing against her. But I'll give her a chance. Like whatever. All right. Super Bowl predictions. I will kick us off. I want in my heart of hearts for the Eagles to win, right? I don't know what it is. I kind of am annoyed by the Chiefs at this point. Is that weird to say?
A little bit.
I think, you know, what really got me was that stupid shit this week about them being like, it isn't Burrowhead, it's Arrowhead.
You told me that what's
So annoying.
Tabletop, not table. Wow, chalkboard material. You said that wasn't a thing. And
No,
like
it's not. It's
it's not
board.
a thing. Bulletin board,
Pick
whatever the
board,
fuck you want to
pick a
call it.
board.
Bulletin board. You said it wasn't a thing, and the team that's going to the Super Bowl, what's
is
the
the
first
thing.
thing that they said when they fucking won? Burrowhead, huh? Burrowhead, huh? Like, oh, your jabronis or what? I mean, perfect thing to bring up, especially with the wrestling thing next
Yeah.
week. But like, Kelsey even said it like in the post game interview. It's just like, know your role, mayor, and you shut your mouth, jabroni. Like, come on. Like, obviously that stuff, like, it's just extra shit that like I took it personal, right? Like Michael Jordan, somebody sneezed near him. It's like, oh, you want to sneeze on the subway? I took it personal. Just something to make professional athletes tick. And it's a thing, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
It's stupid because, like, in football, you're not gonna go like 50% on a football play when you can get your ass killed. No, you're 100% every play you're gonna get your ass beat, and you'll say this stupid shit afterwards, like it actually made a difference. I'm over the Chiefs now. I'm actually changing my prediction now. I think it's gonna be 34-28 Kansas City Chiefs over Philly, so it's gonna be a higher scoring game. But fuck them. 28-21 Philly, just because I'm so sick of them now.
I would love to see a high scoring affair. Super Bowls typically aren't. It's usually like the second half that like gets the momentum after teams have felt out each other for like 3 or 4 like drives. I'm going. I want to see him win another one because it's going to be great. I'm going 24-20 Chiefs. I want to see Mahomes get that second one and enter into that area of like all-time great, because this would be 5 AFC championships that he's gone to, 3 Super Bowl appearances, and he's won 1. We said that we won't see another Brady, and he can't go undefeated. So we get that. But if he is still under 30, he's got 2 of them things, watch out. Would great to see, Jalen win one. So like, I'm not gonna be mad at whoever wins it. I got no horse in this race. But for prediction wise, I want to see. I feel like it's gonna be 24-20 Chiefs.
Also, I hate the way Mahomes talks.
Why? Because he sounds like Bert from is it Bert or who's the other one from Sesame Street? Yeah,
I don't know.
Is it Bert and Ernie? Is it Bert and Ernie?
I don't know.
I haven't watched.
It sounds like a Muppet. That's all I'm gonna say.
Is it Muppets? Is Sesame Street the Muppet? It is the Muppets.
Yeah, it's the Muppets.
Is Kermit's on that one? I can only think of Big Bird and the trash can guy.
You have a kid. How do you not know this?
We don't. Sesame Street is like, I can't even say DEA. Yeah. It's not dead, but it's on HBO now. So like, it's not even on like PBS.
Wow. Like fancy.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, and we got HBO Go. Like, I'm not thinking of, let me go to HBO to watch Sesame Street. So we're on like the Coco. Actually, we're getting into Disney.
We only Bluey Squad around
always
here.
Always Bluey. Number one show for kids to watch is Bluey. Fuck Coco Melon. But we're getting more into like actual exactly shit that has meaning to it, right? So a lot of Moana, a lot of Enchanto, and a lot of Ratatouille has happened.
You don't talk about Bruno?
You don't talk about Bruno, but again, we go off randomly on shit. But yeah, 24-20 Chiefs.
That might have been our quickest segment of all time. Couldn't think of quickest.
Fastest, quickest.
Fastest, quickest.
Quackest.
Exactly. All right, you ready to do this thing?
Let's get it.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizz's 5.
Whew. Bring him in, Trudeau.
All right, I'll bring him in. So, hey, we want to do something different. I think this is my idea, actually. So I'm going to take full credit for this one. I don't want to give away what inspired me, but the idea is like, man, there are things in life that you see people do, or skills or talents, whatever, natural or learned, that you're like, damn, I wish I could do that. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of we can learn each other a little more. If we'll, find our interests.
Mhm.
Top 5 skills or talents you wish you had.
Yeah. Again, normally we get like very emotional. I get very emotional and high strung with this type of stuff. Like I'm always yelling. I don't think this is gonna be that type of segment. Yeah, top 5.
Another reason why Mahomes is the worst. His brother and wife are the
Yo,
worst.
we need Hip Hop Anonymous 91 to keep coming in every single week
Eagles fly.
because
I love
it
this guy.
allows us to laugh. Keep the shit going. I appreciate it. But no, for the 5 this week, again, I'm not going to be high strung and like yelling and whatnot. It's kind of just again motivational. I think again we randomly brought it up. It was like it'd be cool to know like what type of talents somebody else would want to have. So for me, number 5, we're gonna go obviously 5 to 1, and usually we'll go. I'll go 5, and then Trudeau would rip off his. We're gonna go back and forth, so you guys get to know us a little bit more. If you got some talents that you guys would love to have, throw them in the chat. Obviously, bring them up in the podcast or on Facebook tomorrow, whichever is easier for you guys. So let's get this popping, right? Number 5, I'm going with swimming, but sports related swimming, like having to competitively swim. I feel like that'd be dope.
So you want to be like a nice swimmer, like just crushing laps.
Like like Michael Phelps style. Like imagine like being like an Olympic champion for like him, like for swimming. He's got like what 20 gold medals. Like I think the whole black thing would be great. Like the black swimmer has 20 gold medals. Like I feel like that would be hilarious.
You want to be no, so let me get straight. It wasn't just I want to be a good swimmer. I want to be the greatest swimmer of all time.
Yeah, like I can swim, right? I can swim. You put me in a pool, I can swim. What I'm saying is like competitive swimming. Like if it'd be cool to know how to like I can't fucking swim fast, right? Like there's a shark behind me, I'm fucked. But like it'd be dope to be like an Olympic, or at least learn how to be an Olympic style swimmer. I feel like there's a lot of perks that can come with that in life.
All right, I think now I had a week number 5, but my top 4 I'm really strong about. Number 5 was weak. I'm cutting it. I'm doing a different number 5 for comedic. Being
a comedy, nice.
No. That's not what I would. My new number 5 for comedic would be. I want to run fast.
And I was running.
The white guy wants to run fast. I'm too slow, man.
I didn't go like sports related. That was my only sports related talent that I wanted to acquire, because I could just say I want to be a basketball player. I want to be Steph Curry shooting. I don't want to go that route. I thought you meant like a little bit more serious.
No, I will go serious. No, my actual number 5 was and wait, it's more quick. There you go.
That's a good one.
My actual number 5 is to be like really good at gardening, so I could like grow all my own shit. You know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of cool.
Green thumb is a thing, bro. I can't plant.
I got a little bit.
I can't plant to save my life. If it ain't throwing mulch on the ground, or just mowing the lawn with the John Deere, I got nothing for you when it comes to gardening, unfortunately.
That was my week 1, but I like my other 4 much better. All right, what's your number 4?
Number 4, because I feel like it would be dope to, if I had this talent, some type of artistry talent.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, absolutely. I got 2 of them. Like Picasso-esque when it comes to actually drawing. I feel like that'd be dope to be able to just like think of something and just like get your meditation on and just draw, right? Like some type of portrait, building, person, whatever it is, or even like sculptures type, like a Michelangelo. Like like I'm not chiseling out a man's penis. Sorry, I'm not going that route. But just like sculpturing shit. Yes. Well, I'm not gonna go down that route anyway. But like we talked about ice sculptures. Remember, I was talking about
white people.
You set it up, me. You made the diss, not me. What I was gonna say is we talked about ice sculptures during the Powerball. Remember we were talking about if we were billionaires? Yeah, like if I just had a big ass ice sculpture. I thought about that. Like if I had the ability to like create a sculpture for somebody's birthday party or wedding, that'd be fucking dope.
I like it. Some sort of artistry. I'm curious where you go with number 1, 2, 3. My number 4 would be kind of sweet. It kind of inspired me to think about this through Grand Theft Auto, and you'll get it in a second. Not shoot people, no. Number 4, fly a plane.
I like it.
It seems, at least in the video games, it just seems so peaceful, and just the idea of kind of like being in a plane by yourself, hovering above the world, like not a worry, right? It's just like so serene, you can see everything. to be able to just fly a plane by yourself and just kind of do your thing. It'd be so cool.
So
You
you're
good, man?
talking, yeah. My dog just, I don't know if you can't see it because the
I can't
camera's
hear
over
it.
here. My dog
Good.
just walked in. He's growling at something. You talking private plane or like commercial?
Like a little, no, not a commercial, like a little kind of single engine with the kind of propeller, just kind of like taking off from a small airport. Just
Yeah.
fly your own little plane. That'd be kind of sweet.
That'd be dope because like if you just you had a house up in Maine, right? And like there's an airport that you could go to, you'd be like, all right, let's just take a trip up to fucking Maine and be there in like an hour. Like that'd be dope. Actually not a bad one. Right on. I
Those
like
things
it.
always crash though, because it kind of freaks me
Those,
out.
yeah, man. Like I don't want to go down the route, especially because it just passed, unfortunately, with the 8 and 24, the Kobe Bryant thing. Like that
Oh, wow,
was
yeah.
last week.
Those things go down.
Yeah,
don't know.
they do, unfortunately. But to keep it on a positive note, number 3, what I will bring up, it's not even really, it's a talent, but like it's not the bilingual, it's the like multilingual, right? Like it would be learning languages proficiently.
Go ahead.
No, give me the cheer. Hold on. But I'm not just talking about like I wish I just knew Spanish. No, I'm talking like if I knew Spanish, Portuguese, French, like if I could speak like 5 different languages, you know how dope that would be? I'd be like the best employee for my job. Actually, I'd have a different job. I'd be able to do anything in the fucking world, right? Like you could go to multiple countries and just fluently speak their language without having to, Google it or some shit like that. I don't have the time or the patience to, whatever the not Telemundo, whatever the program is, Hooked on Phonics
Duolingo.
yeah, like
That's
that. I don't have the time or the patience to try to learn it, so it'd be cool if I had that as a talent already.
I feel I like how your number 5 and number 3 you took it to like the extreme. It's not like, hey, I want to learn a language fluently. I want to learn all the fucking languages. I don't want to just somehow be Michael Phelps.
Yeah, man, I told you, like it's not just those things. Because like you could just say, "Well, Darian, pick up a book and learn Spanish." Like, yeah, I could. I don't got the fucking time or the patience to do it. Yeah, it ain't easy, right? So like, it'd be cool if you already knew 5 languages, right? Like you just had that shit.
Yeah, my number 3 is also speak a language fluently.
Let's go.
But I only said one. I don't need to know every language on earth.
You just never know what type of situation.
You know what? I just don't aspire for greatness like you.
Hey, man, I'm sorry that, again, this is my 5, not your 5. But we hit the same number 3, so I guess we're kind of sharing that one. Number 2 for me, and this is going more towards like the Steve Jobs type of thing, like technology creation. Okay. Like having the intellect to just think of like what could be the next thing for technology, right? Like the people that like understand what to do. Steve Jobs is Apple, right? I got that name right. Yeah, I know he passed away. But like having that thought of like what the next thing could be for technology, whether it's a phone, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a building, like anything that's like designing how electronics are used. I don't have that fucking skill, right? I'm not that creative. It'd be dope to have that like mindset of like what to know to create something in the technology field.
Okay. Again, very, very aspirational. I like it.
You said it, bro. What'd you think I was gonna say? Yo, like I wish I had the talent that I could shoot like Steph Curry at 5'10".
Like learn to code or something. Nah, I wanted to create Apple. It's your 5 though. It's your 5. I love it. I was gonna go with my number 2 is learn how to like proficiently play piano.
Oh, let's go.
Love that instrument. Get a keyboard, do whatever you want. I like the idea of entertaining for sure. All right, let's get your number 1. I'm guessing it's gonna be president or some crazy aspirational shit. I cannot wait.
I hate that you said it because it's not as much of a follow-up whenever we do this, but number 1 is definitely playing the piano.
Oh, nice. Let's go.
Yeah, so that one I made like specific to the actual instrument. Like I got music in quotations, but like, how many doors could open for you? Like if you were an incredible piano player, that's not just like in the actual music world. Like you can perform in plays, like you can perform at like I don't know, like just like bars and shit like that. Like it's such a field that like if you know how to play the piano dope, like you can write your own ticket for life. Like you could just you could be an outcast. Like you don't have to have a house. You could just travel and just play piano anytime you want to, or like even like a guitar or something like that. And like if you play it right, that can change your entire life. So like if there was something I could have picked up on in school, it's definitely I wish I learned how to play the piano.
So I was thinking piano, not as not in a way that gets me some sort of like monetary return. I was almost thinking like if there's a random piano somewhere, like I could just like pop down and just like people like, oh shit, and just like stop and listen. Like, kind of like just capture an audience, just make people watch in awe. That would be kind of cool.
So my first thought was, when we talked about this, it was piano right away. That was my number one. It was getting the rest was the harder part, but number one for me was piano as soon as we thought about this. And it's the first or the second episode of Fresh Prince when Uncle Phil is judging Will Smith because he dresses like he's from Philly. He has the accent and he talks like Philly, and he says, I know who you are. You are X, Y, and Z. Uncle Phil walks away, R.I.P., obviously James Avery, and Will jumps on the piano and he starts playing Beethoven. And like, it's just like that type of thing is just like, you think you know somebody, and like you were saying, the surprised look that people would give you if you just jump on the piano, like, oh shit, he's playing the piano. Like that feeling would be dope. Even if it, like you said, doesn't lead to money, just having the ability to do that changes like an entire room. So it'd be cool to capture that.
I'm with you. All right, let me give you my number one. This will be drum roll. It's very much in the same vein. My number one is I'd love to be a good singer, like a very good singer. So like, again, like I just want to like, get up on a stage and captivate an audience just with some singing, some dulcet tones.
So you going more towards like Broadway singing?
No, it's like being like if I like, all right, let me karaoke night. I just pick a song, get up on stage, and it's everyone just chilling, and then like I start singing, everyone just goes, the fuck, that guy is good. Like, what I mean? Like something like that where you're just like, oh damn, like that's good. Like, what I mean? I don't need to be a Broadway singer. I'm just saying like just like have a good enough tone to like just get people going.
Not a bad one. Yeah. And Furley, I didn't know that. But yeah, like that shit right there. Good shit. Like he's all over the place. That's also a good one. When I was like thinking about talents, I felt like if we were to poll a room, singing would be up there for a majority of people. I don't really care for singing because I can sing right now, right? No, I'm joking. My kids think that I can sing. That's all I care about is they think that I'm a good singer. So like, I why do I need that talent, right? I already got the crowd that's gonna.
If you're going to go to karaoke night, what is your go-to song?
Probably.
I got you with mine. If you need a second.
X Gonna Give It To You by DMX.
I was reaching for this one. I like that. So that you're singing to that? That's like,
yeah. So the weird story behind it. I actually did that for my in-laws' first Christmas Eve party. So like, yeah, me and my sister-in-law, we did that karaoke for the first time, the first Christmas Eve that I spent with them. They're like, everybody's gonna do karaoke, and I was like, oh well, let's bring out some DMX.
Y'all gonna give it to you. That's
I had a terrible throat like the next morning because I was like, I'm gonna give it to you, and obviously you're drinking and whatnot. But yeah, this is a real story behind it. Oh, yeah, where my dog's at?
I want to get a karaoke machine low key. That'd be fun. Mine is Roses by Outkast.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
I can even get through the rapping part. I've been doing it a while.
So that we had me and Houghton. I don't know if it was recorded, but me and him had California Love karaoke where he was Dre and I was Tupac. Dog, yes. It was phenomenal. Big shout out to Houghton on that one. That was like 15, 20 years ago. So no, maybe not 20. Definitely like 15 years ago. I want to
still do it, you think?
No, because I don't hear the song as much. I can't. Right. I listen to Pac, but like when they're like asleep, like, and I'm downstairs doing the dishes. But we don't be playing that around.
I would love to record it and just have it as a podcast track. We just transition to you and Houghton sing California.
I gotta find it. Maybe we did record it, but it was actually hilarious.
If you find it, it'll appear on this show.
I gotta look for it. It's probably on some type of Facebook memory, so I'll just have to keep looking for the next 364 days.
You'll get there one day. All right, solid section. I liked that Frizzes 5. That transition music's pretty sweet.
I love it.
Doesn't slap as much as the James Bond pause menu, but
No,
close,
we might get in some trouble if we switch it up to that, though.
I know. All right. I just titled this segment NBA Catch Up. Just we kind of jump around different things from the NBA. First things first, like I get LeBron being upset about the foul, but bruh, it's been like 4 days and he's still crying on social media. He's your boy, he's your man. What's going on? Can you please tell him to stop?
Cut it out. Just because he is a Laker doesn't mean he's my boy or my man's. I said it from jump. He's a Laker, but I still can't stand the way that he plays. Look, we started off the segment with it, like when we were talking about complaining about shit. There were some great plays that ended that Celtics game, and there were some bonehead plays that ended it. Like I didn't know that Pat Beverly could get off the ground like that. I was not expecting a putback dunk or a line drive three. Like it looked like he was literally throwing a baseball into the back of the rim. But they were up 3. This is why I'm not on the side of LeBron with the foul, because they were up 3 with 3 seconds left. And they let Jaylen Brown get to the line by fouling him on a layup. You can't put yourself in and like this is again to them saying like we've had 5 games that the referees have decided. Stop putting it in the referee's hands, right? Like I understand, yes, it was a foul and they missed that call. That game should have never got to overtime because you were up 3 with 5 seconds left and you fouled the opposing player with 3 seconds left and allowed him to make the shot and hit the free throw. So like that's my gripe, where it's like if you were a team that's 23 and 27, stop worrying about the referees and make it so that it's not such a close game in the clutch.
And I want to give an award out to Patrick Beverly for the biggest clown in the NBA. The biggest clown award. They should award that every season.
Doug, that tech was hilarious if that's what you're going with.
Yes, bringing the camera over to the officials and being like, look at this. Look at this.
That may be up there with the best penalty that a player has purposely committed in the history of sports. Like there
needs to be a top 5 list.
There are people that like will purposely like you know when like people like someone threw, I think it happened in college where somebody threw a flag and so like they picked it up and they threw the flag like shit like that. It's like you purposely tried to get a flag. Like
we got to go on dumbest ways to get penalties of all time in sports.
Oh, I got number 1, but yes, I'm not gonna give it up, but I know number 1 is.
Hey, throw it in the chat if you got some nominations. But I got a nomination for dumbest penalty. I like this one. Do you remember the old? This is OG To getting the Sharpie out of the back of the pylon inside the ball. Yep. That was a good one. That was a good way to get a penalty.
I think Chad Johnson at the time, before he was Ocho Cinco, he had a NFL Please Don't Find Me shirt, and he got fined. Like you scored a touchdown, pulled up the shirt, was like, NFL, please don't find me. And they're like, you showed your belly. Like, here's a $5,000 fine.
Speaking of top 5, I know we did top 5. I just want to impromptu, just random list, because I was thinking about this about Pat Bev, because Pat Bev, I think, is probably one of the most annoying players in the NBA, right? Just because he just does dumb shit. He's always, listen, he's not even a good basketball player, and he acts like he's the shit. And he annoys the shit out of everyone. And I wanted to get like the list of like the most annoying athletes in NBA, or I guess like any athlete. And I threw out one to you before. Lance Stevenson, one of the biggest. Like I'm talking about like just someone who's a pest, someone who's just there to like annoy you. Because I always think of was it the Pacers Heat playoff where you leaned over in LeBron's ear?
His ear.
Let me get the ASMRs. You know what I mean? Like just that sort of behavior is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. That is such an annoying thing. I didn't think of outside of the NBA because I knew we were going into like basketball talk when we talked about this. For me, I'll just throw out one name because like it's just annoying seeing him around and what he's been doing. That little motherfucker Jose Alvarado from the Pelicans. I can't stand him, man. It might be just because of that like sneaky steal. Yeah, like it might be just because of that. But like something about it, like when it happened once, I was like, all right, cool, you got him. And then like it happened again. And then like they started showing clips like he's been doing this since high school. I'm like, all right, man, like just fucking play the game. Like if like it happens in like a big moment, I'm cool with it. But like the fact that like that's your game plan, is like, dog, just fucking play defense. Like man up. Like we don't need to see that type of shit For you to
Game-
get your one steal a game is like you doing that. Like, just fucking get on defense.
His game plan is to play hide and seek and just pop out of the corner somewhere.
Yeah, bro. And it's like the team just like, yo, man, what are we gonna do in this play? Well, we're gonna try to do this play. And then, oh, steal! Just motherfucker, just get back on defense, man. Like, what's wrong with you? So
Like,
yeah,
he might be the most annoying, one of the most annoying players if you're an opposing point guard in the league.
yeah,
Definitely.
like that's what I mean by it. Like, I mean, you can go with the next one though.
I was thinking of like annoying players, NBA, someone who like flops a lot, like whose game is all about flopping, and not so much like, all right, you flop, but trying to get offensive foul a lot, like that's fine, but like trying to draw the charge, I find charge drawers pretty annoying.
Mhm.
And the one that sticks out to me because dude, every play he gets livid and yells at the referees because he thinks he deserves a charge. Kyle Lowry annoys the shit out of me. He is always just complaining. His whole game plan is just complain to the referees and get fouls.
Yeah, and I think I haven't seen it as
Oh,
much since he won his championship up in Toronto, but like he was up there with biggest floppers or
you
like
ever
offensive
watched-
foul calls.
Have you
for
watched
him.
the Heat this year?
No, because they're not good.
No, they're I think they're the 5 or the 6 seed right now. Their
Like
entire
500.
game plan is get fouls. Between Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, they get fouls like 40 fouls a game between the two of them.
Yeah, I can see that being annoying. Big one right here. I wasn't gonna even put him up there because I know how sensitive New Englanders are. Because we started again, I knew that I would think of people once we actually started talking. I can't stand Dylan Brooks. Something about the way that he plays, also because you were talking about flops, and
No,
I just think about the flop when he was in college and like somebody touched him and he like went like jumped back like 10 steps and then dove, and I was like for me, I'm like, get the fuck up. What are you doing? Like, and he just has that like annoying persona, like
that's a good call.
thinking that he's something when he's actually you're a defensive stopper. Like, just know your role, be Tony Allen, play defense and shut up. But like his jump shot is annoying. The way he plays basketball is annoying. It's just like, yeah, that little motherfucker's a pest. I can't stand him.
Good shout on Dylan Brooks, friend of the pod, Seamus, who does the My Wheelhouse basketball podcast. That's his least favorite player in the NBA. He's definitely one of those guys who gets in your face and tries to like get under your skin, and he's super chucker guy. Like, he takes 25 shots a game that he shouldn't take. It's just
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hip hop again coming strong in the chat, Mark. Like, I know Boston fans, Marcus Smart's one of those players that if you have him on your team, you love him. But if you're an opposing team, you just hate Marcus Smart. So most of the NBA hates Marcus Smart, but he's another guy that like gets in your face. Just kind of, he just looks angry all the time, and he just flops all the time.
I feel like, oh, go ahead, my bad.
No, I was gonna say, go ahead. I was gonna say, is the domain of the annoying player just for small guys like guards? Is that what we're going with, the annoying player?
No, because I got one that's not a small. With the Marcus Smart thing, I feel like because I'm not up north anymore, I don't hear or watch the Celtics as much. So like I wouldn't have even thought of him. But if you polled me 2 years ago, he probably would have been my number one for annoying. And this isn't even pest player that I'm gonna go with. This is just somebody that like I just can't stand seeing him on the basketball court. It's Rudy Gobert. Something about Gobert that just is annoying. Like, 7-footer with like no offensive game besides maybe a putback dunk. He looks so unathletic. Like, now he dyed his hair blonde. There's just so many things about him that I'm just like, how are you considered one of the best players in the NBA? And he's like, defense maybe, because like who can't get blocks when they're 7 feet? Like, that should be just a given. But like, what else are you bringing to the table for you to be considered this good and getting this much money? It's just an annoying guy that I look at him like, bro, if I was playing like 2K and they were like, you can draft 5 centers, like he wouldn't even be on my fucking list. I'd be like, I'll take Darko Milicic from like off of retirement before I grab Gobert.
I don't know why. I feel like everyone around the NBA just doesn't like Gobert. It's because he's French. Oui.
Don't do that, bro.
Oui. I'm working on that goal of learning a new language. Last one I'll just throw out there is Trae Young. I don't know. I don't know. Is it just me? Did you find him a little annoying? I think it's his hair.
No, well, he looks like a baby
No,
from like a toddler's like box. Like he looks like he's on one of those.
Have you ever had a blow pop, lollipop, and dropped it on the carpet and pick it up? And it's just
And
got all
like
that like furs on it on that.
that's what you think his hair looks like?
That's what his hair looks like.
I could see
That's
that. I mean, I feel like I don't see him as much of a pest because of like what he does to New York. I love that. Like I love the villainous that he has, like the Reggie Miller style of competitiveness he has against the Knicks. So like I can't say that I would like something that somebody does and then call him some like annoying. Although I said that like with LeBron. But like I wouldn't, for me, I wouldn't consider Trae Young an annoying player.
I like how we said that the segment's NBA catch up, and we just pretty much talked
nothing about basketball
players.
besides how annoying people are.
Yeah, that was the whole point of the segment, just to talk shit about people. I like that. All right, let's talk some more shit really quick. Rat-a-tat-tat through this. All-star selections. The starters are out, and just kind of to tell the audience how that works. So it's fan vote, media, and player vote. And the way it works is that the fan vote ranking is 50% of the total voting, and the media and the players are 25% respectively. So the way it works is like it's not number of total votes, but how they finish in the rankings, and they do a composite ranking. We just wanted to look at the all-star starters and kind of, I don't know, take picks at it, see what makes sense and doesn't make sense. I'll just go through them real quick. Eastern Conference, Giannis. So the front court is Giannis, Kevin Durant, Tatum, which is either if you're a forward or center, and then the guards are Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, and then for the West, front court is LeBron, Jokic, Zion, backcourt, Curry, Doncic. I think the West is the more interesting one. Eastern Conference, you could make cases for other guys. I know Embiid was pretty salty about not being a starter, but to be fair, like Giannis, KD, and Tatum, and Embiid all deserve to be starters, but it's just the way it works. You have to only have 3 front court. Do you have any like egregious disagreements with the East?
East, I think they got him right. I think the East is doing their best to try to separate Tatum and Brown because they both kind of play that wing position. So like to say that Brown is a guard. To say that Brown is a guard, I think that's like the NBA trying to get him like considered an all-star because I don't think he is a wing. I don't think he's a guard. I think he's more of a wing. I think the East got it right. I would say, Giannis, KD, and Tatum is par for the course for the 3 best, bigs or, forward/centers in the NBA. You kind of get dwindled down with like the Mitchell Irving thing. Irving is just Kyrie Irving. I think you get a lot of people that respect him his game wise. And then same thing with like a Donovan Mitchell, like that talent to go from the West to the East. If he was in the West, I don't think he's a starter, even if he's putting up the same numbers because it's the Jazz. But the fact that the Cavs have a really good team right now, it's kind of boosting him in that better team, we'll say.
I think if he has the same productivity he has here in the West, I think he starts over Curry.
Really? I mean, Curry's still he's Steph Curry still. He's still averaging over 30 a game, and you're not sitting Luka. But again, argument for not a bad day or anything like that. I just think that the guard plays a little weak. Western Conference. Did you say you wanted me to go over that real quick?
Yeah. I know you have disagreements in the West, so I figured we can go there really quick.
Yeah, the only one that I can say that I just really don't care for is just the Zion effect. I mean, we saw this, McGrady back in the day. We saw it with other players that like Vince Carter. It happened a few times because he had the whole country behind him in Canada. I don't like that like players that get injured make the starting rotation. He's an all-star. We get it. We know he is. He is an all-star caliber player. The man's missed more than half games a season. Like, I don't understand how you can vote or have him be a starter when there are other people that may deserve being there. Like, I don't really care for Anthony Davis being up that high. Same thing, Glass House.
He was the next guy up.
Yeah, and it's just like I wouldn't put him there. And then like somebody that I know people will clown on him, but he is having a very respectable first half is Paul George. And like, yeah, PG, your kid, look at his numbers, man. Look at his numbers. Paul George is having an incredible first half of the season.
I think if anyone has a gripe with this, it's Sabonis. I know it's not a sexy name, and no one likes the Kings, but the Kings are, I think, 3rd seed right now, and he's a huge portion of why they've been so successful. He's been fantastic. I think he deserves to be in there over Zion. I agree with you on the Zion thing. I think you need to play more games to be in consideration. And we talked before the show. It wasn't just the fan voting. Players and players and media both had him the third starter. So it is what
I
it
think
is.
that's the reason why Sabonis would be so low, though, is because he is going to get the job done. But is he the sexy pick?
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is like for All-Star votes, again, it's who's considered playing the best at the time, right? But even though there's no positions, there's still positions, and having 2 center/2 forwards, essentially 3 if you had LeBron, Jokic, and another center, Sabonis, you're taking essentially like 3 bigs, right? Like 3 forward centers that I don't think the NBA would ever want to have, even if he was playing at an MVP level. His voting would be a little lower still amongst those players because like the NBA doesn't want to see centers starting. They just happen to have 2 centers in Jokic and Embiid that can shoot threes.
I kind of also would have liked to see it, and this is kind of a stretch, SGA over Steph.
I wouldn't put him over Steph, but like I hope he's considered an all-star reserve.
You know what they should have done? Remove Zion. I know Luka's listed as a guard, but he's actually more of a forward.
Again, that's the thing is he plays point guard, but he's essentially a wing. It's so weird how like the NBA is positionless right now. But if you're looking for a traditional guard, I would say Shea. I used to say his name incorrectly all the time. I used to say Shy because it looks like it, but it's Shea Gildress. Same thing with Ja. You know what I mean? Like I talked about Ja essentially being, like the Allen Iverson, like he could be MVP this season, and he's not even considered a starter. So like a lot of things that can be up in the air. I think the guard play in the West is far superior to the East, but I think the teams in the East are far superior than the West.
Truth, yeah. We're still waiting on the rest of the reserves to be announced. We'll know that later on this week. It'll definitely be fun when the All-Star game rolls around. We'll talk about it. I love the celebrity game, so hopefully we get into that a little bit. That's always a good time. But you know what time it is, buddy?
Let's get it.
It's time to get out of here with one of our favorite segments. It's the last segment of the show called Closing Takes. It's where we get our last thoughts off. Can be sports, can be pop culture, can be whatever the hell you want it to be. It's your time to ISO ball and have fun. So let's do this.
The show is coming to an end. But first, it's time to get to anything we've missed. It's closing time. 1 segment, 2 takes. Go.
All right, closing takes. I'm gonna go first. I feel like you always end this with like a really good positive note. So I'm gonna let you get your little take off at the end. So I told you earlier in the year to watch a show on Hulu. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, Welcome to Wrexham.
Welcome to Wrexham. So they are an English football club in the 5th tier. It's actually technically semi-pro at that point. It's not even the professional league. This weekend, they've had a miraculous season. They're in the English FA Cup, which it's like all of England, all the clubs, Manchester United, everyone's invited. They went toe-to-toe with the top team in Division 2.
Let's go.
Like, this is like one of the better teams in the world. They drawed 3-3. They're playing a rematch, actually. Let me get the date. February 7th. It's a Tuesday. But we're talking like David versus Goliath stuff. We're talking like, let me think of like what's like like the tier down from the Power 5 in football, college football?
Like the Pac-12.
Okay, I'm talking like Washington, like a Washington playing
Alabama,
a Division 2 school, essentially, and it ending in a tie. Like that's the type of underdog matchup. And this team, man, check it out. I'm pumped, man. They just keep on going all the way, man. This is awesome. And Wrexham, owned by Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. So it's a fun thing.
So I'm actually glad you brought that up. I'm gonna keep it on the movie/show point two for mine, but I actually got a update or a notification when this happened because again, the CIA knows and like your phones think and listen to everything you do. But yeah, I got an update saying that Wrexham had taken the lead because they were up at some point in the game, right?
They went up 3-2. So here's the crazy thing is they went down 1-0 within like 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh, well, man, writing's on the wall. But man, scrappy, not even, this is semi-pro playing the leader, the second place team in the second tier of all like the best league in the world.
Yeah, so like I was actually pretty amped and I followed it as much as I could. I didn't finish obviously like watching it or watching the game, but I was pulled into it to know that they had taken the league. And I was like, let's go. Like I wonder if Trudeau, and then I was like, he fucking knows about this. So like that's cool. Like you love to see that type of stuff. Like if it meant essentially for some people thought that it was going to be a joke. Look, this is the prime example of like if you invest into something, great things can happen. Like we saw what Deion Sanders did and Jackson State. And like people will clown on that and be like, yo, we needed to get Ed Reed out of the team that he went to because he's calling. Yeah, like he's clowning on the the AD, he's clowning on all these people, like he's talking disrespectful. It's like, no, he wanted change, and like change develops shit. And like, look what happened for this team where like people that have some money, they invested it into them. From what I saw, like they upgraded their training facilities, like they upgraded their training staff, like a way that they can actually play the game. And look what it did, right? Like that's momentum that they can carry. And soccer, if I can get corrected, they can move up, right? Like the more they win, they can go from semi-pro to like tier 3. If they win that, they can go from tier 3 to the bottom of tier 2.
Yeah. So like English football, it's it's semi-pro and like there's like a bajillion leagues below that, but there's 2-1 championship Premier League, and they're actually in first place in the semi-pro, so they're about to potentially move up to the second league, but they're playing a team that's going to play in the Premier League next year, and they're tying like legitimately a team that's going to be at the toppest level, the highest level, which is it's just an insane story. I just thought it was
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a great mention. I'm a big fan of that. I think if there's as much as I don't watch football or soccer anymore, I think their relegation system is incredible. And if the NCAA ever implemented that shit, you want to talk about money? Like Appalachian State before Appalachian State became Appalachian State. Appalachian, sorry, I'm in North Carolina. I said it wrong. Please don't get mad at me for that one. But yeah, Appalachian State. Like if they incorporated that into college football, that's buku bucks right there. So
yeah, shout out Coach Prime too. Did you see he got the number 1 cornerback to go to Colorado?
Yeah, back years. They got the number 1 cornerback for last season, and they got the number 1 cornerback for this season.
Should be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Colorado because I'm rooting for Prime. But to keep it on the, I would say, movie/show area. If you guys get a chance, because it's something that I did this past weekend. A great movie that just came out, You People. That movie was absolutely hilarious. Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, and Lauren London. If you get a chance to take a look, did you watch it?
I actually, it's so weird that I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about that movie.
I thought it was hilarious. There's like some shit that like Eddie Murphy does like subtly that like makes you remember that he's a comedian, right? Because he's been away from the game for so long. But like I think it's a good movie. It's got a lot of hidden messages for shit that like people need to learn when it comes to like how certain cultures are like, I guess, live their life. But I think it's a good movie that like if you are stumbling upon shit that you ain't really have like to do on a weekend and you just want to watch a movie, definitely pop that on. It's a good laugh and it's got a good moral story behind it.
Speaking of Eddie Murphy, thumbs up, thumbs down, Coming to America too.
Didn't watch it. Because I haven't watched it. I wanted to watch it. Good, you can boo me. I don't care. I wanted to watch it, but I love how good Coming to America, the first one, is. I don't want. Yeah, like it's definitely up there with like one of my favorite movies to watch. I can't say of all time. It's just one of my favorite movies. If it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
No, I was gonna say it's
channel stoppers.
Movies that like if it's on, I'm like, oh, I stop on it. Also,
a good list. I can't give it away. Oh, because that's a great list. I can't give that away though. Yeah, I got you.
Not next week. Week after. Can I just throw out one more real quick? Friday, stopping on every time.
Yeah, and that wouldn't even be in my top 5, so I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't give that away. I have movies that are absolute
Yes.
channel stoppers. Like if that's on, I'm watching it. And Coming to America, I can't even say Coming to America 1, just the original Coming to America was so good that I don't want to be upset that Coming to America 2 would be bad.
I would say this: if you have just downtime, you want to just get something really dumb and funny to watch, worth a watch. It doesn't ruin the first one. They kind of know that it's a money grab, and they just kind of make fun of it and like
Fast and Furious.
It's a Fast and Furious franchise. Don't get me started on those, but it's good. It's good.
Oh, we had dead air. Sorry, I thought you were going to tell me a show. I apologize. I thought you were going to say something.
Dude, we're an hour and a half in, and it was such a smooth show.
We can't stick to under an hour to save our fucking
It's like,
lives.
you know what we just did? You know the gymnasts at the Olympics, and they have the perfect routine, and they go to stick landing and fall on their face? That's the First and the Grids podcast.
Hey, man, it happens. It does happen. Trudeau, get us out of here, though.
All right, hey, remember, first of all, before I say remember all the bullshit, guys, thank you for watching live. Hip Hop, man, we love you. We love everyone listening, but we appreciate the input. You guys are what makes the show what it is. What do we say? It's the podcast for the people, right?
It is the people's podcast.
So yeah, it's also a podcast, so check us out, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. D, get us out here right, buddy.
As we say every time, I'm wrapping up and we wrapping up. Please, y'all take care of y'all mentals. Y'all take care of y'all physicals. Take care of y'all bread. Take care of y'all chicken. Take care of y'all children. Peace, love, hair grease, and we'll catch you on the motherfucking rebound.